How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today we're going to talk about paying for a monthly membership to a gym versus buying a home gym like this behind me. A typical gym membership might range between $15 to $20 a month, and from what I read, the most popular time to sign up for a gym membership is around January. You guys know why? It's because of New Year's resolutions. People buy this membership, you use it for a few months, and then you never touch it again. There's also travel costs to and from the gym every single time. On average, a gym is about 4 miles away from home. So if you factor in the gas and depreciation of your car, they estimate around 67 cents a mile. This is average. You might have a cheaper car that you drive, you might have a more expensive one, but it's a nice ballpark to use. For a round trip of 8 miles, it's gonna cost you about $5 to go to the gym each and every single time. If you go 1 time a week, this is $250 a year. If you go 5 times a week, that's $1,250 in transportation costs alone, not including the gym membership. If you add in the gym membership, let's say it's around $300 more. This is around $1,500 per year. Personally, I don't work out all that much. So when I have something like this at home, it's easy to access. I can lift weights whenever I want. This machine is called the Vimexciter. The way these resistance bands work is when you first pull it, it takes really little force. But when you pull it further and further away, it takes more and more force. So the weight indicator on each of these is actually when you pull it at its very maximum, you get 50 pounds. And you gotta factor in that not all exercises are going to pull the resistance band from the minimum all the way to maximum. Most of the time, it's a smaller range than that. For example, curls, it's only gonna pull it, about that much. And these things are on a pulley system, 2-to-1 ratio. If you pull this 2 feet, this is only gonna lift up by 1 foot. So whatever weights that you put on this is actually gonna be half. So when I did a bench press on this and I put all the bands on, I'm like, hey, how come this is kind of light for me? Personally, I can do bench presses of around 135 pounds. So then I'm like, what's going on here? And I measured it. The way I do that is with the luggage scale. I just kind of put it on like this, and then I can lift it up. Let's see if I can do that right now. No, it's kind of overweight right now because I have all the bands on. I'm gonna spare you the entire process of testing it. I'm just gonna show you my results. The default machine has these black springs right here, these really large ones. And when I do bench presses, pushing it up all the way to this level, I get 35 pounds. When I add 30-pound bands that comes with the machine on both sides, I get an additional 7 pounds. So that's kind of low, right? I would understand getting only 30 pounds. So these bands that comes with the machine is a little bit mislabeled. So let's just ignore that for now. 2 50-pound bands, it's another 7 pounds as well. That's also kind of funny because the 50-pound bands are a little bit thicker than the 30-pound bands, and yet the resistance is about the same. So when you put all the resistance band on that comes with the machine, no add-ons or anything, you get an additional 35 pounds of weight felt for a total of 70 pounds. Now 70 pounds is too little. I don't think I can get a good workout for this, so I requested an extra set. When I put on 2 10-pounds, I get an additional 5 pounds. Again, keep in mind that I'm only pulling these bands a limited range here. It's like from here to here, which is about a quarter of the range. So 2 10-pounds, I get 5 pounds. 2 20-pounds, I get 5 pounds again. 2 25-pounds, I get 11 pounds. 2 30-pounds, I get 22 pounds for a total of 43 pounds more. So now we're kind of getting to the range where it's reasonable. 43 additional pounds plus the original 70. I'm gonna feel about 113 pounds over here in this weight lift. Now, what about the full range? I did the test where I pulled it all the way up to the top. Right there. This would be the full range of the machine. You can't really use the resistance band any other way. The pulley system is actually always divided by 2. So when I use the full range, the 30-pound bands at its maximum extension feels like 8 pounds. So only 25% of its rated capacity. 50-pound reads only 9 pounds, so around 25% again. 70 pounds read 10 pounds, about 1/7. 100 pounds read 14 pounds, around 1/7 again. The extra resistance bands, these ones right here that are color-coded, the 10-pounder adds 6 pounds, which is okay, it's reasonable. It's divided by 2. The 20-pounder adds 6 pounds, which is a little funny because they physically look different, but it still adds only 6 pounds at its maximum. The 25-pounder adds 11 pounds. That's reasonable sort of, you know, I would expect 12.5 pounds, but as long as it's not off by an order of magnitude. One single 30 pounder adds about 14 pounds weight. So the additional ones, it's a lot more reasonable, with the exception of the lowest two bands seemingly about the same strength. The machine has a 1-year warranty because it uses resistance bands instead of actual weight. You can actually fold this into the wall and it only comes out about 4 inches. 113 pounds seems kind of like the reasonable point to start for me. When I had a gym back in college, I would lift every week and I might have been a bit beefier just slightly before. Let's see how many I can do. 2, 14. The great thing about this is you don't need a spotter. Anytime you can't lift it anymore, it has holes along here and then it can hold it in place. There's also these safety mounts that you can adjust up and down so that there's a minimum amount that it can drop. One thing they don't tell you is how to safely mount these resistance bands. You really should install it on the top loop the first and last time that you hook it. This is the last time I'm gonna unhook it. So from here, if I ever slip, this is gonna pull it down and it's gonna go down and hit the floor. Hopefully you have shoes on or you're kind of stepping away from it so it doesn't hit you. And then you unhook it here. Look what happens if you try to hook it up here first. You hook it here, that sounds great and all, and then you pull this down to hook it on the bottom. But what if you slip? It comes up on you, right? It comes up like that. And this is gonna go bam, hit your face. So don't do that. You hook it on the bottom first if you wanna put one on. You pull this up. If you slip, no harm done. Maybe the worst is you hit some metal and you break this resistance band, but you can pull it up and then hook it on here and all is well. These are the resistance bands that comes with the machine. We have 100, 70, 50 and 30. The extra set that you can buy comes in different colors and the labels are printed on the head and it's a lot easier to read. 30 pounds, 25 pounds, 20 pounds, and 10 pounds. And like in my measurements, the diameter of these are very, very similar and the pull strength are the same, even though one says 10, the other says 20. These are the default springs. They're not tubes. Internally, I can feel kind of like a spring in there and it's protected by this cloth so you won't pull it and then kind of clip yourself. There's a bottom limiter to the Smith bar, so you can move this piece upwards and you can pull this limiter out and adjust it to your liking. Let's say to level 2 here. Now you want to put it away, you pull the bench aside, twist these knobs until they're tightened. It moves it upwards away from the carpet. And then you just kind of fold it in, lock it into this plate up here. And just like that, total man cave. Yes, this is looking a little ridiculous, but sometimes you need some exercise equipment to lift weight. You want to bulk up. Installation is pretty straightforward. As long as you have a stud finder, you can find the center of the studs. There are 3 giant bolts that hold each of these panels in place. 2 up here, 1 down there. 2 up here, 1 down there. And the bolts of this machine is located exactly 48 inches apart. Typically the studs are around 16 inches apart, so you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 studs behind this drywall. And once you install it, it's pretty sturdy on the wall. Most of the weights that you're pulling is going to get transferred into the floor through those pegs down there. So you're not really pulling on the wall or anything. It does need some hefty bolts in order to bear the weight of the thing itself. I totally understand that some people go to the gym to meet other people. There's a social aspect. Sometimes there are classes that you want to attend, not just lifting weights. If you guys are interested in this exercise machine, it's called the Vimexciter MFO3. Check out my affiliate link down in the video description below. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time.